Right, good morning. Well, we're on Thursday, whatever the date is, 14th of November, and we're going to start with the manual entry. So don't forget, the card's already out, and the little flip up bit, if you can see it, is just where my finger is there. So just make sure that's lifted up, and then remember, when we push the card in, it will tell us the date and time that we took the card out, and it will confirm our surname just to make sure we've got the right card in. And remember, the card goes in chip side up, and we shall go through the process. I'm just hand holding this, so you have to excuse it if it's a bit wobbly. So the card's in. Always make sure your ignition's on when you're doing this bit. Last withdrawal, 13th of the 11th, 1747. Would we like to do a manual entry? Yes please. So we press OK. So between the 13th, which was yesterday, 1747, and when we've put the card in at 4:58, we were resting, but we weren't resting until 4:58. We were resting until 4:50. So we use the OK to come across, and the down button to take it to 50, and then press OK. This bottom line, when we press OK, will then go to the top. There it is. And then it'll ask us what we've been doing until 4:58. Well, we've been doing other work, so we change the icon to cross hammers to 4:58, press OK to zoom it across, and because that's the time that we put the card in, it will ask us if we want to confirm the entry once we've said we've started in the UK. Confirm entry, yes. Now don't forget, if you think you've made a mistake, you can turn that to no, press OK and start again, but we're okay with that, so we'll press yes, and that's it. Away we can go. There we go then. Another early start, 5 o'clock in the morning. Bit of a damp start to the day. And we made it home last night, so park at the top of my estate. Head back out of Warwick. We're heading to Rugby this morning for the first drop. Going to our friends at Eddie Stobbart's. Stobbart's. Quite funny how the years have changed. Moving this seat forward a bit. I must have shrunk overnight. Big bottle. See, many years ago, when I worked in Carlisle, I used to work in the old AA depot, which was up at Kingstown, junction 44 of the M6. And Eddie Stobbart, his place used to be just at the back of there. And I went in one day to see if they had any jobs for a trainee truck driver. And I asked the question, is it pronounced Stobbart or Stobart? And I was told by the man himself, Stobbart. And over the years, it just seems everybody calls them Stobart. And I said to him, well, I've heard people call you Stobart. And he just looked at me and went, no mate, it's Stobbart, in a Carlisle accent. No mate, it's Stobbart. So I'm a little bit confused as to what it should be, whether it's a Stobbart or a Stobart. And and I've always called them stubbarts because that's how he wanted them to be called. And I'm fairly sure there'll be a lot of people disagreeing, a lot of people shaking their fists and unfollowing me and total disgrace. I don't know. I don't really care, to be honest. But we're going to their facility in Rugby. It's more Kilsby than Rugby. And we've got a load of pallets on board that we're going to be dropping into them. There's a lot of water on the road. It was like this Monday. This is the way I come out to work on a Monday morning, and the way I come back on a Friday. There was a lot of water on the road on Monday when I left. And looking at the forecast, it looks like we could be in for some dodgy weather, as we've been saying all week. It will be here amongst us in the next day or two. This is a bad little bend, this one. It kind of, the road comes into a bit of a pinch point. Just take it nice and easy around that bend. This brings us out onto the M40 roundabout where the A46 crosses for Stratford and Coventry. We're going to head left onto the A46 towards Coventry and shoot off down towards Rugby from there. Lots and lots of water on the road, struggling to get traction. Anyway, we waffled on enough yesterday, so we won't bore you to tears today, or we'll try not to anyway. And the rest of the day we're going to talk a little bit more about mental health and the job, and we're going to read out a few questions, do a couple of shout outs towards the end of the video, and that'll do for this week once again. So I know the plan for today actually. He texted me with my work last night. Good old Rich. Oh, it's really windy as well. So we're off to Eddie Stobbart's to drop our pallets in, and then we're going to Milton Keynes to a company called Mars, and we'll be picking up a whole load of animal feed, dropping them off in various places all over between Newbury and the south coast. Well, that's a 2-day run, so with a bit of luck that should fill up my day tomorrow too. Right, we'll love you and leave you for now, and we'll catch up again in a bit. Oh, incidentally, if ever you're on this bit of the A46 between Warwick and Coventry, just be aware of the standing rain or the standing water on this road. It's absolutely horrendous, and it was only resurfaced, I think it was the year before last, because there were so many accidents along this bit of road caused by standing water after heavy rainfall, and they've resurfaced it and the water still remains. They've done nothing at all about the drainage, and you can pretty much guarantee that whenever there's heavy rainfall, some poor soul has an accident. Normally a little bit further up towards Coventry, but just be aware that this stretch of road can be absolutely horrendous. Right, leave you there, catch you in a bit. Well, we've done our delivery of pallets. That was pure nasty out there, really horrible. one of the downsides of the job. Having to work in all kinds of weathers. Kind of reminds me of when I first started a couple of years ago, and obviously I was quite nervous about starting a new job. Didn't really know what to expect. Everything was new, a lot to take on board, and one of the things that I really didn't even consider was having to wear gloves. I know it sounds simple, but with this job you wear gloves lots, all the time just about, or a lot of drivers do anyway. Now, steamed up a bit. Let's turn me demisters on. Now, nothing really prepared me for how hard it is if you're not used to wearing gloves. How hard it is to work everything whilst you're wearing gloves. And whilst you feel like you're being watched, and especially for the first couple of weeks when I was doing the class 2 work, and I was shadowing a guy, another Steve, and he just thought it was hilarious. So honestly, I was all fingers and thumbs, completely not used to wearing gloves at all. I don't particularly like wearing gloves because it makes my fingers feel funny. But over the last couple of years I've kind of got used to it. I still can't wear gloves in the winter on a cold night. I'd rather just have bare hands and put my hands in my pockets, because it just makes my finger ends go funny. But certainly with the job, it's safer, I think, to wear gloves for a lot of the stuff that we do, and it certainly saves taking chunks out of your fingers. Oh, so here we go then. So we're off to Milton Keynes for a collection. That is horrible. And it's going to be a side load. So both sides curtains are going to have to be open. And at the minute we've got sideways torrential rain, which is lovely. I'm not sure if they've got a place indoors where they can load you because of the weather. I guess we'll soon find out. But whatever happens, it'll be done as quickly and methodically as possible. I've no idea how this microphone's working over the sound of the rain, but it's absolutely chucking it down out there. So we'll love you and leave you for a bit. I'm not even going to bother doing a time lapse, because what you're going to see is the windscreen wipers going. So we'll catch up in a bit. Half an hour collection done, and we've got quite a bit of a run around. First stop's going to be Newbury, and then Basingstoke, and then we kind of head down towards Portsmouth, Southampton area. Got a couple of drops around that area. We've got Winchester first, and then we'll head towards Portsmouth and Southampton. Probably do them ones tomorrow. Squeaky wiper blades. It was absolutely chucking it down with rain while we're being loaded up. But we got loaded, we're all strapped down, and we are on our way. We're going to get some fuel. We'll have a stop, probably Sherwell Valley Services. We'll stop and get fueled up there, and then crack on with the day, see what we can get done. bit of a break in the weather. God, it's been horrible. But we'll get out of Milton Keynes and onto a bit of a better road. We'll have a little chat. We'll continue the chat from last week about things that can affect you whilst out on the road and what you can do to help yourself be in a better place than what you may be. So we'll look forward to that. Catch up shortly. Called into the services to get some diesel, but the queue was massive, absolutely huge. And I know both of them service Oxford as well. The fuel pumps on key fuels are just so slow. And I've been in there for over 3/4 of an hour before now, filling up. So I went round once because I just couldn't get anywhere near, and the lorries were queuing back out onto the access road for the services, so I decided just to give up. And one of the good things, I think anyway, is I never ever leave it until the last minute for fuel. I always make sure I've got some in reserve. I always try and plan ahead a little bit. So we're going to continue on down the M40 and we'll come off at Cheveley services, because we're going to Newbury, so the two kind of go hand in hand. And they've got better pumps, to be fair. So I don't know why I just didn't do that in the first place. Well, I do. I didn't do that in the first place because when I get to Cheveley, then I am going to be getting below. I'll still have enough to get me to another one, but I don't like running, you know, into the red kind of thing. You see some trucks when you get in, and well, the drivers will run them right into the red, and the AdBlue will be in the red. Never been one for that, because you just never know. If you get stuck in traffic somewhere, especially when the weather's like this, I want to make sure I can stay warm, not worry about getting off the motorway. So there we go. We'll keep on going right down to the M4 junction. And then we're not too far away from Newbury there anyway, so who knows, I might even do a 45-minute break at Cheveley, and then I can crack on with the rest of the day then. Don't have to worry about stopping again. I might just do that. So that is something that you can do as a driver to take away the stress of running out of fuel, because there's nothing worse than driving around for the day and not knowing if you're going to make it to refuel or not. I always try and make sure my tank is pretty much full first thing, unless I'm parking up in a lay-by overnight, and then it's very rare I'll have a full tank in a lay-by. make sure you've got plenty of fuel. Make sure you know where your filling stations are. That was a bit further down than I thought. Make sure you know where your fuel stations are. You can, if you're using key fuels, as with quite a few other fuel cards, you can go onto their website and have a look around and see if you can find the point of interest file for your particular sat-nav. And what I do is I go on at least twice a year, just so you can get the updated files and add them to your sat-nav. And then that way you can search for HGV refueling places along your route, around where you are, or you can actually just type in an area and it will do its best to try and find one for you. So forward planning, plan ahead, and it all helps with the whole mental health thing on a daily basis. If you have a plan and you have fuel, that's a massive weight off your mind. And also, you know, if you leave your fuel to the last minute, if you let it run down to the dregs of the tank, what you might find will happen is all of a sudden your traffic department may want you to go somewhere completely different, and then you are in trouble. They might end up branching you off in a completely different direction to what you thought you were going to be taking. Roundabout. Just the usual, people have to be passed. Let them go. It's all push, push, push all the time. Push, push, push. Things that can affect you as a driver, things that can affect your thought processes, the way of thinking, things that can really get on your nerves, and stuff that you can do to help you take a deep breath. There's all kinds of things every day that you're on the road that can really get on your nerves. Attitude of other drivers, that's probably the top one. The way they cut you up, always got to be passed. They do some crazy things around you, and not just to you, but you know, to other road users as well. They travel too close, they travel too fast, and more often than not they don't look past the end of their bonnets. Usually they've got somewhere to be or someone to see, and all that's on their mind is getting there.
then you also get some drivers that are just in it for themselves, it seems. They're just, I don't know, the whole thought process of being kind to each other and, you know, stopping and letting people through and all that, it's all gone. It's all gone. It's very rare. You know, you can be at a junction with a long queue of traffic and they'll just keep on going. They just follow each other. And you can sit at a junction or a road end for 15-20 minutes until you either get a gap or somebody lets you go. There's not a lot really that you can do about that, apart from, again, with planning your journey, making sure you've got plenty of time to get to where you're going, knowing your route. Is there a way round that may well avoid that junction? If you've done it once and been sat there for half an hour waiting to pull out, it's worth getting the map out and having a look to see if you can avoid that next time. And just relax. If you can't go, you can't go. Even if it's making you late for your next drop. And what some other drivers don't always fully appreciate is the driver of that truck might actually be on his way home, and just by sitting there for 2 or 3 minutes may make the difference between him spending or her spending time at home or having to have another night out in the truck. It can be that tight sometimes. Other things that can really do your head in. There's so many, there's so much. Roadworks. Now you might come through roadworks, you might not think anything of it, but on a daily basis, when you're travelling through cones and you're having to keep the speed down, and you just see again the attitude of other road users as you're coming through roadworks. Not everybody, you know, there are some decent people out there, some decent drivers. Couldn't get across there because I've got cars all over me. Yeah, roadworks, they can be quite tiring, they can be quite stressful. Especially if you're allowed in 2 of the lanes and you've got a 50 miles an hour stretch of road and you've got a driver in the second lane doing 43 miles an hour, drive you nuts. And if you're fighting for time, if you're fighting to get home, or if you're struggling to get to your break point, you know, that can be quite frustrating. It adds to the pressure of your day. And this is the thing with mental health, you know, it's little things that mount up. And you maybe don't realise all the little stressy bits have kind of mounted up and clumped together, and it's about to bite you. So again, plan your journeys, know your route, and hopefully you should be okay. Now the other thing you can do is take care of yourself. Make sure you have your brakes. They are legal. It is a legal requirement to take your brakes, and you're more than entitled to do so. And nobody can throw the book at you for being late or not actually making a delivery because you had to have a legal break. So make sure you take your breaks, make sure you use the facilities. Make sure you get out and have a walk around, not just sit in the cab. Keeping in touch with family, friends. I actually find it easier now I'm driving a truck, because you've got all this time sat down, and whilst it's still legal to use a hands-free set, make the most of it. Make sure you keep in touch with people, because if you're working away as a tramper and you're away weeks on end, you'll be surprised how quick you lose touch with important people. So make sure you do keep in touch. As for work-related stuff that can do your head in, attitude of some of the places that you may go into. Now, I was pleasantly surprised when I came into the industry. I thought it was going to be a big, manly, burly, butch world. But in actual fact, it's quite a friendly place. And I would say a good 99% of places that you go to are absolutely fine with you. But you'll always get the odd one or two that are just notorious. And quite frankly, sometimes I'm actually surprised that people have a job with the way that they speak and treat us truck drivers. But what you've got to remember is it might not be personal. It might not be about you as a driver. So don't rise to it. Keep your head down, do the job, do what they want. Make sure you are clear in your mind what they want you to do. If there's any element of doubt, ask again. And that way you get it right first time and you can get out of there. Just remember to stay friendly, stay polite, stay yourself. And if you have a really bad time at a drop or a collection point, you know, if somebody treats you in a way that you would never treat somebody else, then make sure you raise it, make sure you let somebody know, because it's not fair, you know, it's not on. So raise it with somebody at work, or even ask to see a manager of where you are. What you don't want to do is make matters worse. So if you can get unloaded, then maybe once you're good to go, then you could ask to see a manager, go and park out the way somewhere, and then just let them know. We do have a duty of care for each other. At the end of the day, all anybody wants in this job is to be loaded or unloaded and to get from A to B as safely as possible. Right, we'll leave it there for a bit and we'll continue it again next week. We are in Newbury. We stopped at Cheveley, we got fuel, took a 45, and we had a bit of a kip, made a brew, used the facilities, and we're all good to go. It's just gone 1 o'clock, just a couple of minutes past, and we're literally half a mile or so away from the first of the drops. So that's kind of timed quite nicely, that. Newbury is where the Vodafone headquarters. Just come past it. I didn't quite get to the camera in time, unfortunately. Quite a busy place is Newbury. I think we've got 5 pallets here, and from here it's to the outskirts of Basingstoke. We've still got a bit to do yet today, and quite a bit to do tomorrow. Just the usual for a Friday. And then we see what they want us to do on the way back, whether there's any collections or whatever. No doubt we shall find out tomorrow once we've delivered everything that we've got on board today. I don't think I've been into this one before. I kind of feel like I'm going into the multi-story of Sainsbury's. I can see it. There it is. Let's see what pleasures await us when we get round the corner. It did look a little bit tight in there, but we shall soon find out. I never remember if it's Mall County or Mall Country. Mall Country stores. There we go. Mind the bollards, mind the vans. Disappear and see what the score is. Alright, that was the one done at Newbury, and we're off to Basingstoke now. Time now is 1:30. And all is good. So I will do a little bit of a time lapse between here and Basingstoke. And we'll see you when we get there. ways it's like done. I just washed the windscreen. Now we're off to Winchester. Time now is 2:45. I reckon we might even get one more done tonight. We shall soon see, as the saying goes. We should be at Winchester for about 3:20. If we could be out of there for 4 o'clock, then I might just make the next one do. The rain's disappeared for now. I'll speak too soon. It's turned into quite a nice afternoon. Kind of almost into the golden hour, aren't we? Just before the sun starts going down, everything goes gold and picks out the colours of the leaves. This is the bit I like about the job. All the colours and the seasons. Very, very lovely. Anyway, we shall see you at Winchester when we get there. And there we go then, we're all parked up for the night, and I thought we'd do the questions and answers. It's come through to the app once it's loaded up. We'll just have a quick go through sort of the last few people that have said hello or left a message. If I open the right app, it might help. There we go. I'm parked up in a lay-by tonight, and at the moment it's a bit of a busy road out there. Every time a lorry goes past, I'm getting blown to bits. It should quieten down with a bit of luck. So thanks very much, James Marriott. Hi Steve, thanks for another great video. Stay safe and drive carefully. Always do. Gary Smith, hi. Hi Steve, top drawer as per usual. Cheers, thumbs up. How many hours do you think you work on average per week? Do you do Saturdays or just Monday to Friday tramping? Keep them coming. Regards, Gary. Well, Monday to Friday, definitely. I try not to do a Saturday. In my little world, 5 days away from the family is more than enough. 2 days at home with them. That's how I like it to be. Obviously, if things don't work out on the road, there's been an accident or whatever, sometimes you can't odds it. Sometimes you have to run back in on a Saturday, but I really try not to, unless I can absolutely avoid it. Every time a lorry comes past, this GoPro's going to fall off its perch. How many hours do we do? I probably do about 60 a week, something like that. It was always 70 plus at Maxi, so less hours here. It's harder work here. It's a bit more energetic. Probably about 60 hours a week, which is fine for Monday to Friday. I've got an app. I've got the tachograph app, and that keeps a tally of all the hours that I've worked and whether it's actual working hours or, you know, when I say 60 hours, it's kind of starting at 6 in the morning, finishing at 6 in the afternoon or early evening, whichever way you want to say it. Doesn't necessarily mean to say I'm working them whole 12 hours. I might be parked up, you know, with nothing to do for a few hours. So I think average is, well, let's have a look. If I open the app up, and if I go into the working time directive, the average is about 35 hours. Yeah, my average is about 35-36 hours, something like that, over a 6-week period. And some weeks I've done 46 hours, some weeks 47 hours, some weeks 24 hours. It all depends on, you know, on what we're doing, what we're up to, what we're delivering, what we're collecting, and how much time we've parked up through the day, twiddling our thumbs. But normally I like to do a 12-hour day, and that's plenty. So I think that's about it. We'll love you and leave you with that, because we're getting blown to bits and this camera's about to fall off its perch, I think. So we shall say goodbye, and we shall see you again next week. Cheers. Good night.